Hey, what's up guys, it's T-Bone here, and welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So today I'm going to show you some of the decks I'm using for this event fostered by Flames, and also some deck ideas. But before we do that, I wanted to talk about an announcement that was made by the network team yesterday about the upcoming changes to the Slayer event. And it's a pretty significant change. So what I want to do is I want to share some of the clips from the video because it was introduced in the network app. And I'm going to have the relevant pieces in here. I'll have the full link to the description below as well, so you can follow the full video later on. And I'm going to give my thoughts on it as well. So let's take a look to see what Daniil has to say.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Inside Scoop. This week I want to talk about big, exciting changes coming to Legendary, and it's around how new decks are going to work in the future. So the goal behind these changes is to reduce power creep, increase deck building, increase heroes' value over time after an event ends, and to reduce the need to add new types of heroes like human or dragon as time goes on. Next week's deck will be the first featuring Water Slayer Intensity. To make deck building more strategic and rewarding in the future, all future Water Slayer heroes will also have Water Slayer Intensity. In addition, the relics next week will target Water Slayer heroes, making them more valuable and flexible in the future.
So the introduction of Slayer Intensity might seem like yet another intensity type for relics, but I do think that this is a good direction that will help promote deck building. If my guess is correct, we should see cards that give boost to all Water Slayer cards, which then opens up deck ideas across many different cards. When more information is available, I will provide my thoughts more, but right now I'm interested to see what the next event will be like. Now, let's talk about the cards I have this event. Unfortunately, I spent 6,000 gems, but currently only have one event card. My runes aren't looking too great either, but I do have 3 support cards, which are working pretty well for me this event. Let's start with the deck that you saw in the beginning of this video. This is what I use for Overkill. So you can see I have 4 different fire relics that have different types, one of each type here, and I'm also taking advantage of the commander cards with the event card and 2 other commanders. You can use any of them if you want. You can also replace the Baleful Bride with the Pumpkin Queen. But basically I'm just using the different relics and also the fact that I can get more gems on turn 1 from the Pumpkin Queens, and then I can do a power gem swap and deal over 300 million damage to get Overkill easily. Next is a variation of the Thoth deck here using all 5 god relics. Now this is not a free to play deck, but it is one of the decks that I know a lot of people who invested in it enjoy using. I personally like it as well. So the thing is, the weakness of this particular deck is the heal. There is no heal in this particular deck, and there's no counter for counterattack. So by bringing in a Pumpkin Queen or Baleful Bride, it will give you 2 benefits. One, it will dispel counterattack, and the second thing it will do is it will also give you double the heal so that you can always survive your hits. And the other benefit that this card gives you is that it will spawn gems every 2 turns, so it helps you get the matches you need to power up the Cobra card or the ultra rare card so you can get the power gems you needed to fill up the board with power gems. This first match, I'm able to deal over 30 billion in one hit, so that allows me to take out the boss in just a couple more fights. Now skipping ahead, I was able to take it down to 3 billion after my second hit, and on my third hit here, because the intensity is higher, I'm actually going to deal even more damage this time around. So this is a really good and useful deck and still works really well against guild bosses here. Now here's a deck I'm pretty proud of. It's relatively budget friendly if you don't have to get the event card at tier 4 of the main pack like I did. This deck uses Alex as the card to generate power gems, and so I put 3 special relics in there and have just 2 dragon relics to power up the dragons. Now this deck can deal a lot of damage, as you'll see later, but it's a pretty slow deck. But it's a commander event, so that's okay, and we're not using a very budget heavy deck here. So the way you want to play this deck is take advantage of the fact that your support cards give you both immunity and also heal, and you'll heal more as your intensity goes up. So what you want to make sure you don't do is activate them all at once. Activate your support cards one at a time, and you're going to guarantee that you'll have enough health to last you throughout the entire fight. What's nice here is that the event card also dispels counterattack, so you don't have to worry about it. So effectively now you have a passive healing card that will allow you to then focus on building up intensity for Alex, which is the main goal here. So every single turn, every time you attack, you're going to get 15 gems on the board to guarantee that you're always going to be able to hit. And every time you attack, you're also generating Dramatic Intensity to power up your battle skill for the event card. So this deck works really well for a long drawn out fight. In terms of the order of activation, make sure that you activate Alex before you activate the main event card here. And I also wait until I see that the passive power gem spawns actually take place before I activate Alex, so I get more power gems on the board. And with this, I'm able to deal over 80 billion damage, easily taking out the level 247 Guild Legend boss in one hit. Since Alex is a Master Collection card, not everyone will have one, so what are the alternatives? Well, there is the Commander Starter deck available now, and Stellar Rabbit is available. She's also able to fill the board with Power Gem 1s, so for our final deck, I will showcase her in a deck. I'm also bringing in Vulcan's Revenge, which is a Fire Dragon Warden, and has a nice battle skill that increases all fire damage against Earth enemies. This also shows that reducing the total number of support cards down to 2 is still viable against Guild Legend bosses. I would have liked to show how the starter deck would work, but I only have one Flamefoot and no Lepore cards, so I will not be able to feature it this episode. Now we have only 2 support cards. It's not actually going to be as much of an issue because we have really high health with all of our dragon cards here. So it's exactly the same playstyle here, except instead of activating your support cards 3 times, you're only going to have 2, so then there's going to be 3 turns in between where you are going to get hit. But given the amount of health we have, it's not really a big concern. And so what you want to do here is you could activate Vulcan's Revenge anytime you want it, because you're going to gain a little bit more attack power from all of your fire cards. So then with this, what we want to do is play a very similar style to when we showcased with Alex, and we want to try and boost our intensity higher. So let's skip ahead and you'll see that we're able to bring our intensity count to almost 300 before we activate all of our skills and try to take the boss down. So with a board full of Power Gem 1s and a couple of 2s and 3s, I'm able to deal 55 billion damage, which is just shy of what's needed to take out the boss. Now I have 7 turns to go before Stellar Rabbit is available again, and I only have less than 2 seconds remaining. It's actually quite a bit of time if you're used to it, but what I want to do here is talk about the trick and tip that I have using this deck for how you can get the quick matches. Notice that because of the support cards in place, you have a lot of fire gems that are available to you that you can see in between clock. So what you want to do as much as possible is to do what I call an inline match. That means instead of trying to join a fire gem to another fire gem, just do it inside the row or the column it's in, because if there's already 3 or more, you can already do a match just by moving the gem inside. It's actually a little bit faster this way, and then you can do an off gem move. That means move a gem and don't make a match, and you'll be able to stop the clock much faster that way. And so with this, I'm able to do my 7 turns and be able to activate my Stellar Rabbit to deal my final damage for over 70 billion to take out the boss with just enough time remaining. And that is all for today. The decks I try to focus on this time around is centered around the ability to take down guild legend bosses, if you will, and that will also give you enough firepower to take down solo legend bosses with Overkill in mind. So hopefully this has been helpful for you, and hopefully this is something that you can use to be successful this event. So as usual, please leave me a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are about the upcoming Slayer changes. I'd love to hear your feedback. Until then, I'll see you next time. Take care.